Welcome to Beyond the Trailers coverage of the 2015 Academy Awards, giving you an in-depth look at the top categories, where, for the first time in a long time, it's actually difficult to choose a favorite. So I'm here to give you the inside track on the nominees, after which you're invited to vote in Beyond the Trailers' annual Oscar poll via the link in the video description. Now let's take a look at the first half of the 8 nominees for Best Picture.
American Sniper.
When the nominations were first announced, it seemed that no audience favorites had made the cut. Would this year's Oscars be a quiet, quaint, and quirky telecast, with the Hollywood elite and cinephiles golf clapping the winners? No, because as soon as American Sniper went wide, all hell broke loose. Suddenly, not only do mainstream audiences have a horse in this race, but conservative audiences to boot. Will Fox News be covering the Oscars? They sure will, because no matter what side you're on, this is the big Oscar story, like Lupita Nyong'o versus Jennifer Lawrence, Black Swan and Avatar before it. And to make things even more interesting, clearly Hollywood, or at least the Academy, didn't have a problem with American Sniper until it broke a bunch of box office records. Back when it was simply a Bradley Cooper Clint Eastwood war movie, they gave it 6 nominations. But now that it's turned Chris Kyle into the new Davy Crockett, largely anti-war Hollywood will either take a stand or extend an olive branch to the middle Americans who usually don't go to the movies, just in time for summer 2015. It's also worth noting that the Academy loves a good war movie and hasn't given one the win since The Hurt Locker in 2009. And to give the win to a movie that's become a cultural phenomenon, the Academy might not be able to resist the opportunity to remind the world that, yeah, we did that.
Birdman.
But some say that Hollywood itself is war, as fighting for what one believes in creatively takes its own emotional toll. And before the Golden Globes and American Sniper, it seemed that this year's Oscars were a 2-picture race. It doesn't seem that way anymore, though, and Birdman, like its main character Regan Thompson, finds artistic recognition now perilously hanging in the balance. It did just win the SAG equivalent of Best Picture, yet that's been about 50-50 when it comes to determining the actual Oscar winner. Birdman is tied with the Grand Budapest Hotel for the most Oscar nominations, a very good sign, although Alejandro Inarritu is not an Oscar darling. Amoros Perros and Beautiful were nominated for Best Foreign Language Film and Babel for Best Picture, but all 3 films walked away empty-handed. Now, Birdman won't go home empty-handed, but the odds are much more in its favor when it comes to Best Actor, Best Screenplay, and perhaps even Best Cinematography. Inarritu's next film, The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy, is also expected to be a heavy awards contender next year, and Birdman could simply put him in position for a win there.
Boyhood.
The other half of that supposed 2-picture race. Now that the field of frontrunners has expanded, Boyhood actually finds itself in a slightly better position than Birdman with its Golden Globes win for Best Picture Drama. However, the Academy likes to distribute the wealth, so to speak, and Boyhood's almost certain lock on both Best Supporting Actress and Best Director could hurt it here. Yes, the Academy feels that as long as a film can label itself Oscar winner, their work is done, specifics be damned. Now, some could argue that being a summer release hurts Boyhood's chances of taking the top prize, yet other winners, The Hurt Locker, Slumdog Millionaire, Crash, and Gladiator, were also summer releases. At the end of the day, besides the whole spread the wealth angle, it also all depends on the narrative of the year. 12 Years a Slave was about Hollywood finally recognizing a homegrown Holocaust. Argo was a celebration of the power of movies, as well as a comeback for Ben Affleck, while The Artist and The King's Speech were about how Harvey Weinstein is a brilliant Oscar campaigner. So are Academy voters feeling a year that reminds us white guys don't lead as charmed and easy a life as the media would have us believe?
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Before the Golden Globes, the Grand Budapest Hotel had closed up shop for the winter. Released all the way back in March, Wes Anderson's cheeky romp had been an early frontrunner, yet faded into the background when awards season hit. But while Harvey Weinstein is the Oscar whisperer, Scott Rudin knows how to catch Oscar's eye as well. The Hours, The Social Network, True Grit, Moneyball, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, and Captain Phillips all received Oscar noms for Best Picture, with No Country for Old Men winning the award for him outright in 2007. So the Grand Budapest Hotel is not only Rudin's horse in this race, but will perhaps allow the Academy to finally recognize Wes Anderson's work, one of the most prolific and unique talents to ever come out of Hollywood. Anderson has been making movies for over 15 years, a darling of the film elite, yet he has never won an Oscar. And fascinatingly, while Boyhood might not win Best Picture because it's so strong in other categories, because the Grand Budapest Hotel is so weak in its other categories, it might win Best Picture. Furthermore, if the Academy is looking to avoid controversy, Anderson's film is so light and sweet, yet still undeniably well-crafted, that it's a picture not to offend anyone. And that's the first half of the 2015 Best Picture nominees. Which films are you rooting for, and which are you rooting against? Be sure to leave your comments down below, as well as vote in Beyond the Trailer's annual Oscar poll via the link in the video description. And there's a write-in section if you feel anyone got snubbed. I'm Grace Randolph, and I hope you'll check out the rest of BTT's Oscar coverage right now.